What you're seeing is advanced warfare.
Everybody ready? Hoorah!
We're catching up with Glen here from Sledgehammer Games. And I think I want to start off by Sledgehammer Games. You set up the shop like 5-6 years ago, and really this is what it's all been building up to. First game of your own. Can you tell us a little bit what that journey has been like over the course of these years and sort of getting to know the Call of Duty franchise?
Well, you know, we look back on Modern Warfare 3 with, you know, fond memories because it was our way of, you know, introduction to Call of Duty. And, you know, it was the perfect way to get, to be introduced, you know, working with Infinity Ward and learning firsthand about the franchise. And, you know, did I think that they would give us our own franchise and after, you know, 2 years? No, but it was, it's such an honor, it really is.
Mm. And I think it's interesting to talk about this. You came in wanting to innovate the Call of Duty formula, if you will. It's one that's very established. Some may have grown a little bit tired, but some really love it. So how do you strike that balance between maintaining what's there that fans sort of love year after year after year while still innovating?
You know, all I can say is it's more of a gut thing. You know, there's no measurement, there's no way of looking at it other than going, well, we need to innovate, let's go far out. So the best thing to do is go further. And so, because it's much easier to go further and then pull yourself back in than keep taking little steps towards innovation. So we went pretty far out, and then the fact that then we were able to say, well, let's maintain Call of Duty, which is believability, relatability, and so by putting that stuff in there, I think it was able to kind of ground some of the big mechanics that are different, and that itself has kept it to be, you know, what Call of Duty is about.
Did you feel like, was there anything that you went, oh, we went a little bit too far on this and we have to pull back a little bit, or did you sort of?
Here and there. In the very beginning, so we have a rule that says this is science and not science fiction. We're going to make sure that there's research and science behind everything that we put into the game. And I think in the beginning, I remember we didn't have that. You know, this came on maybe a month or two after, and so there was a couple of things out there where like, well, we can't put that in. That's science fiction, and it felt a little too far.
But isn't that like all science from the beginning science fiction? Like,
you know, you could look at it that way. Yes, I mean you could look at you know, Arthur Clarke, who, you know, when the satellite, you know, but this is based on, all right, we know there's science there. At least, you know, even if there's a theory, then, you know, we can take that and say, all right, this is based on a theory that will happen, and that's where we really wanted to say. It was just a nice guideline for this particular game. You know, not sure what we'll do with other stuff, but for this game, having a guideline like that was really good, and it was nice to really do a lot of research. I mean, that's where the ideas came from. That was the inspiration, is research, research, research.
Speaking of that, you also opted not to go with a nation this time, but with a PMC, which sort of feels a little bit convenient almost, because you don't stepping on anyone's toes, except for some corporations who may feel you know, pointed towards. Right. But at the same time, what does it offer? Because it's for a player, it can feel a little bit anonymous. Of course, you got Kevin Spacey on there, but what does it offer in terms of the narrative?
Well, I think it's the wave of the future in a way. I mean, look what's happening in the Middle East now. I mean, it's a, you know, we have groups that don't have, you know, a place they call home, and so it seems like, you know, some of the battles nowadays are anonymous. You don't know who's done something until later on they come out and they take credit for it. So this feels more like not thing of convenience, but a matter of reality, and that's what we were seeing happen with the private military corporations. Is you know, this is something that we gotta figure out how do you fight something like that.
And you say fight something like that, of course. Private Mitchell is sort of is hired by them. So is there a sort of is there a duality in that involved in that, or what's right and what's wrong, or where are you coming from?
I don't want to give too much away because that's starting to a little bit, but there is a lot in the game in terms of thinking about the politics, thinking about, you know, we talk about power changes everything, and that really does encapsulate the whole idea of the game. And you know, I think once people start to play, they'll realize what we mean by it. But you know, we've seen in the past, you know, how power corrupts and how it changes, and it still continues to do so. And oh, you'll see.
All right, not giving anything away.
Well, I mean, that's why we get such a complex and great actor like Kevin Spacey, because he can pull off a lot of different things, and he has to in this game. He's not just, you know, a little bit in the game. He's throughout the whole game. He's a major character.
Yeah, we saw he's appearing on screen while you're playing a mission, giving you instructions and so on and so forth. And I can imagine that sort of narrative will evolve into something a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, we give a lot of backstory through Kevin, and there's even a couple of other little nice little changes to the game that you'll find that involve dialogue with him, and the movies themselves. You know, we used to restrict it to like 45 seconds or whatever, and if he's got a spot where he's talking for 2.5 minutes and it's brilliant, we're keeping it.
All right. So speaking of that, the latest reveal here for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is the Exo Survival mode. Of course, it wouldn't be a Call of Duty game without you know, co-op as well as multiplayer and single player. What kind of what kind of vision did you go into that with, and what did you want to create? Because you want your own unique co-op for Call of Duty.
Yeah, what we wanted was, you know, we had created this exoskeleton, and you know, the warrior of the future was wearing this, and in some ways we had these ideas that were too crazy for both single player or multiplayer, but we could put it into you know, Exo Survival, and that's what we did. I mean, you've got all kinds of moves, all kinds of stuff that you guys can work together with. It is the exoskeleton like on steroids. It is so much fun. Plus, you can take stats, and you know, when you could hover in the game for, you know, a few seconds or whatever, you can double or triple it in here. So you're able to really prolong using some of the great exo mechanics that we have in the game for a lot longer here. And then we're able to just take enemy waves and change what they're doing. You've got, you know, all kinds of stuff with new weapons we've added to some of them, and it's really over the top. It's a real adrenaline rush, and we're finding that this is something that the team is playing right now a lot, and whenever you have the team playing your own game, it's always a good thing.
So, sounds interesting there. So do you unlock progressively as you progress for the waves more sort of even further exo abilities, or?
Yeah, well, you upgrade, you earn points, and then you go into an armory, and with the armory you can upgrade, and you can also take other points and put them into your stats, or, you know, your character, your weapon. We're finding people putting them into the character more. And on top of that, we have 3 different character choices. So you can, you know, heavy, light, or assault. So, you know, I can do, you know, all sorts of things in that. If I want to be the heavy guy, and I can continue to create, you know, more and more armor, can carry more, stronger. You know, it's going to be a little bit slower, but you know what I'm talking about. And then we're finding that with that kind of nuance in co-op now, you can really build this. This team, the 4 of you or whatever, you know, and that's what we're finding the most fun, and you know, put one guy over there and the heavy guy over here, you know, start to really have strategy on how to get to these waves, because the waves are limitless, so they keep going, and we're still anxious to see where somebody can go with it.
Oh my God, that could be a very long live stream there one day.
Yeah, I hope so. Yes, yeah.
So that sounds really interesting. I mean, this sort of Thunderdome concept is something you talked about as well. It's inside a dome. What's the sort of fiction behind this?
Well, The fiction is that
It's fun.
yeah. Well, that's part of it. And the fiction is we give you so much abilities that you can actually jump out. But it's more like the idea is, you know, a little bit in the future that they're able to, you know, put this sort of laser dome over it, and it's almost like, you know, they're just. It's you against them, and we're just seeing who can win. And you know, you can go almost back to the early Roman days where it was like almost like a Colosseum. We're going to let these guys keep coming at you, and that was sort of our idea. And then we kept adding more and more things to the Exo, and just like, wow, this is like Exo on steroids. So we kept the Thunderdome concept in there, but really pushed on the Exo. It's really about the exoskeleton.
Mm. And sort of, you said it, limitless waves. I assume that the abilities, you can't upgrade them limitlessly. So there's one point where you're getting tougher and tougher enemies, but perhaps you're not.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. I don't know where the end is, though, because we give you so much, right? That's what we're talking about with, you know, over 20 billion different combinations in multiplayer. I don't know what the numbers are in co-op, but, you know, you can continue to upgrade. You can put stats one way. You can change the way you can change your character type, right? And so there's so many different ways you can play it that, in a way, that's limitless. You know, it's one of those things that we know that people play co-op with their friends and it's like a party time, right? It's a different type of thinking, and you know, they could play for hours, and so we wanted to build a mode that allowed for that.
Very exciting stuff. How do you feel about the whole of the project as a whole? These 3 years, you know, starting at that meeting when you were handed the reins of the new Call of Duty and the whole process. What do you feel about it today?
Well, you know, seeing the game the way it came together in the last few months. I mean, the levels were really coming in well. The multiplayer, everything, the maps, and then we put this wrapper around it, you know, with the new screens and the new UI and you know, new menu system. And I gotta say, it looks really slick and it's very, very professional. I'm really proud of it. I mean, the production values to me are, you know, some of the best in the industry, and I just humbled by the opportunity to be working on it. You know, really, to work on Call of Duty, the biggest thing in the world and in the video game industry, and then to be able to make your own, you know, is you know, something like we didn't take lightly. You know, like, wow, this is it, man. You know, and so we're really, really proud of what we've done, but you know, very excited that we were given this opportunity.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.